Hi, you must be getting this video because you did the PULS test, which assesses your cardiac risk, and you might have entered the red zone. Don't worry about it. You are in good company. A lot of people end up there with their initial test. But of course, we work on things and keep repeating it every 3 to 4 months until we see how we can make it move in the green direction. Now, if you look at your estimated score, it'll tell you, like, based on your family risk factors and your age and your gender and other factors, they'll calculate what they expected you to be. So some people, if they calculate what they expect, they're not even in the green zone. Some people, at their best, can end up in the yellow zone. And of course, we can always defy the odds and get into the green zone, but some people, like if someone was 40 years old and pretty healthy, you would expect that they would be in the green zone. But if they were 70 and already had hypertension and high cholesterol, once they calculate where they expect them to be, they expect their heart to show some signs of aging and be in the yellow zone. But if you ended up in the red zone, that means that certain things are happening in your body that we can control and get you down to what your expected score should be. So the first thing, if you are in the red zone, is I want to make sure that you know I am not a cardiologist, and if you have not seen a cardiologist or had an EKG recently, that is a good idea for you to do that. You might be able to directly refer yourself to a cardiologist for a workup, but some of you might need to go to your primary doctor to get a referral, and that's okay also. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure there's not something beyond the inflammation. I'm going to address the inflammation in your body, natural things you can do, but of course, a cardiologist could see if there's some other things that I can't possibly see or have an impact on. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that even before you go or while you're waiting to go to the cardiologist, you can always get something called a calcium score. And a calcium score is like it's a non-invasive test, CAT scan, that looks at how much calcium is in your heart. And of course, we want this to be low. We don't want a bunch of calcium everywhere. But having this score is very useful to cardiologists. The doctor who invented this test likes to know what the calcium score is, especially when a person is in the red zone. So if someone's in Houston, they can go to one of the Methodist hospitals. They offer this test. You do not need an order from me to get this test. You could walk up and pay them whatever. It's usually like 100 and 150, something like that, depending on what all you add on to it. But you can have this test without a physician's order. It's just good for us to know and track so that we can make sure that what we're doing has an impact. So now, what are we going to do? So the first thing is look at your diet. So a lot of people mean to eat better, and most of the time they eat better, but then sometimes they go on vacation. The number one diet that's studied for this is Mediterranean diet. And also in my experience, the people who do really well, like who just show up green, are my very regimented, like my vegetarian patients or my patients who really eat a lot of plants and very little meat. So lots and lots of plants. Even if it's fruit, I don't care if you eat fruit. But like, fruit has sugar, it's the devil. No, fruit will save you on this test. Someone who's eating a lot of fruit is going to beat someone who's, eating a lot of meat and eating very few vegetables and avoiding fruit. That is not going to help you on the test. If you do the test, you're going to have to either eat fruit. I personally do eat some fruit, but I do like Ningxia Red, which is this super fruit drink that has like pomegranate and goji. So basically it's the equivalent of eating 10 servings of fruit or more. Or I take some sort of green supplement. I put green powders in my smoothies. which is the equivalent of eating several servings of vegetables. So yes, I eat fruits and vegetables every day, but not necessarily the 7 to 10 servings we want now. So sometimes I might recommend a supplement that will help you get to this goal without necessarily putting all of them in your diet. Sometimes, we live lifestyles where it's not easy to have a bunch of fruit around, but there's ways that you can supplement this request. So fruit is very important. It will save you. That will get rid of a lot of the inflammation. I mean, there's lots of studies when people eat fruits and polyphenols and pomegranates and the Mediterranean diet. All of that definitely has a huge impact on heart health. So that's the first thing, is like assess your diet and figure out what you're going to do. Also, when you're eating inflammatory foods like gluten, milk, gluten and dairy are just inflammatory. Even if you're not allergic to them, they just cause inflammation in the body. So you want to definitely take an assessment of what you're doing and see if you can swap some of your current items for gluten-free or dairy-free items. So more fruits and vegetables and gluten-free and dairy-free items. I do this. I am not completely gluten-free. I am not completely dairy-free. I try to be. I shop that way, but of course we go out and we eat stuff, and that's okay. But if you haven't ever thought about it and you actually look at how much gluten and dairy you're doing, it's probably like a lot. So you want to look, even in the little bitty tablespoon in your morning coffee, go find a non-dairy creamer. Over the year, it adds up, especially if you're doing 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day and putting a little cream in each coffee. And at the end of the year, that's a different amount of inflammation than if you switch to a non-dairy creamer. If you're putting sugar in your coffee, use something less inflammatory like honey. I mean, even though yes, it's sweet, just something about Manuka honey is they even give it to diabetics. Something about the Manuka in the honey lowers blood sugar. So you want to really look at like every single thing you eat and see how you can do a little bit better. You don't have to become a raw vegan tomorrow. That would be great. It would totally work. But if you didn't, you can still make a lot of small, doable, affordable changes that would have an impact on your test. And if you only did that, lots of people still have good success. But of course, there's more. I'm going to tell you a lot more. Hi, so in order to access some of my protocols, go down here to us.fullscript.com/welcome/T Kummel. It's on the screen here. Once you go in, it will allow you to create an account. And once you create an account, you'll be able to see some of my protocols. So this will take you to my dispensary, and it'll have PULS test, and there'll be several different protocols. Of course, you won't buy everything in every protocols, but it gives you a lot of the different specific recommendations that Dr. Harrington, some of the products that Dr. Harrington recommends. And in that account, there will be several of my protocols I share with patients. So there'll be a list of protocols, but there will be several for the pulse test. One might be pulse hypertension, one might be pulse diabetes, and etc. I create different selections all of the time. You might not pick every single thing on that protocol because that would get expensive, but at least some of the products that I do mention, like the specific brand of garlic and the specific brand of fish oil, will be in the protocols, and I update those protocols. So as we add new things, you can always go into the store and find the items that I've updated. So you can create it, access the protocols, find the specific products that you want if you desire, and go from there. Get moving. And you don't have to become a marathon runner. Walking 30 minutes a day or more. Yoga is relaxing, and lowering your cortisol is very good for heart health. So stop smoking if you smoke. Lifestyle is more important than genetics. 80% lifestyle, 20% genetics.
if that, maybe 10% genetics. There's no shortcut. You actually have to change your diet.
Hello.
You found me. Yay.
Yes. We made it back. So,
Yeah.
I was looking at your
stuff. I know. I was reviewing all these tests this weekend and I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to make a video anyway. So we may as well do a podcast about heart health. Because, so many people are red and they can't all immediately come in to talk to me about it. And so I was like, I'm going to have to make the red video and send everybody this video. I'm like, feel free to make an appointment, but you could also do what I'm saying right now on this video, because it's not going to be terribly different for everyone. Of course, everybody has their own special case, but in general, if it's red, let's just check some boxes right now, because I know that we will hit on something you are not currently doing.
Very good points.
Yeah.
Very good points.
Yeah. So I'll tell you how I even started doing this. I do heart health. My grandmother, when she was not that much older than me, died of a heart attack. My grandfather at 60 died of a heart attack. So I've been on a heart healthy plan for a long time, because everyone in my family gets hypertension.
Right.
Including my younger siblings. I mean, everybody, we all get it. We will not escape it. So when I was younger, I knew that I was going to have to start doing stuff. So I've been doing stuff for a long time. And I've always, even in my patients, with menopause, I know how quickly your heart function declines once you go through menopause. So I'm always very proactive. I check their cholesterol probably more often than their regular doctor does. Because I'm like, if what we're doing is working, a lot of these numbers are going to get better just by accident, not. And so, now I'm very deliberate. So when she showed me the test, I did the test. And since I hadn't specifically really, this is just what I normally do. I was like, oh, I don't know what my risk is going to be. I don't know what my heart rate is going to be, but I'll check it. So she showed me someone else's thing who was like my same height, my same weight, my same age, and I know this person is another person in the health field. And she was like, she's someone who does like exercises every day, and she's on the Whole30 diet all the time. I mean, she's like way more hardcore than I am. I'm like, I eat kind of healthy and I cheat. I mean, not cheat on food, but I mean, like I take a lot of supplements to make up for what I know it lacks in my diet. And this person actually had the right diet and the right exercise. So you think, oh, we're the same age, same height, same weight. We're going to have the same score, or hers was probably going to be better. Just talking to someone, I would think I would think yours and mine would be similar. And I would think hers and mine would be similar. Well, no, mine came back and it was actually in the green zone. I was the right age, like my age is, and that came back the same age. She is my age. Hers came back greater than 80. It doesn't even go over 80 because there's not enough 80-year-olds in the population to compare it to. So once your heart age goes over 80, they just sort of say over 80.
Over 80. Right.
So hers is like 24 years older than she is. I'm like, whoa, nope, wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, I'm going to find a lot of red because most people aren't as good as her. Yeah.
And you said she's about the same physical health that you are.
So yeah. She's not overweight. No, okay. She's better than me. Okay. She's leaner. She appears to be leaner than me. I do water aerobics. She was actually doing like, more weight bearing stuff than what I do. So I was just like, I would not have expected, and she doesn't smoke. She's not a drinker. She's better than like, she thought, I know she's doing what she's got she's in the health field. So I know she has access to supplements. She takes supplements. So I was like, no. Now the one thing I do differently than her is like, I'm much more aggressive about keeping my hormones young. And like your heart is going to tell me how your hormones are doing. If you haven't been on hormones for 20 years, like your ovaries were removed 20 years ago and you never touched another drop of hormones, your heart age is going to be much different, because that's when your heart age starts to accelerate, when your hormones leave you. And if you somehow took hormones and maintained them at a youthful level, I'm going to see that in your heart. Your heart has a lot of estrogen receptors. Do not starve it. If it's starving, it will show me on this test. So the big difference between she and I is I'm much more aggressive about being normal about everything. Like I check my adrenal. I check, if you weren't taking estrogen, make sure your adrenal hormones.
Are you taking estrogen yourself?
Not all the time. Usually I take everything out. I take DHEA, I convert. See, I'm estrogen dominant. So I can literally take testosterone and DHEA, my body will make estrogen out of it because it likes to do that. So I don't always take it, but I always check my levels and make sure I'm not like, oh, look, 0. Never. Not going to happen. Never, never till I die will I have a 0 estrogen. Won't do it. Even if I cannot take estrogen, I can still take other things, or I take herbs. I know which herbs geranium will increase your estrogen level. Rose will increase your estrogen. Fennel might. So, I mean, I know how to like play and make sure that I don't go to 0. So that, and I'm very, like I said, I check that all the time, and I'm very aggressive about that. And that's the one thing that's different between she and I. But I also have other patients that I've checked who I do have on hormones, and they were still in the red. But I don't also know they don't diet like, you know, but to say it's all these different balls that are hanging out in the air. Like, you might have the hormones, but you don't have the diet. Now, a 20-year-old, we don't even do this test on 20 and 30 because they get away with everything. I think they start paying for the test around 40, unless you're 30 and you're diabetic or have if you have another factor, the insurance pays for this test. Insurance actually pays for this test.
Oh, really? This PULS test?
Yes. If someone, even if it's an HMO, like a lot of different insurances, I know PPOs are going to pay for it, and some other insurances, I can't write for an HMO just because I'm not in network, but you know, in general, they take a lot of, even Medicare, they take all sorts of different insurance assignments.
Well, that's good to know.
So most of my patients are getting it ready because then we have a new number to track. Or a lot of people think, oh, my immune system's good. My immune system's really healthy. I'm like, well, if your heart is 80, can your immune system be 20 or 30 or 40 or with more than 10 years different? No. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anybody whose heart test is 80 really needs to think about.
You've been using this test. Has it been a while that you
I started in the spring, just 3 or 4 months I've been, so I don't have that many people. Because it just in text, I mean, she just started repping the test not that long ago. So I only knew about it when she started repping it.
haven't even heard of it.
And then every 2 weeks we go online and do like if I have patient questions, I can go through some of the labs with him. And I had a guy who really, I have him on pellets. He's kind of tries to eat right. He's the normal height, normal weight, but he's 67 and his heart rate, his risk was like high. First, he's like, just repeat it. He's like, let's just repeat it and make sure what we're dealing with, because that doesn't even sound right. And we repeated it. It was still high. And then he was like, how much sugar does this guy eat? And I'm like, well, he's pre-diabetic. So, and I was like, and he hasn't gotten worse. I mean, I've been following him for years and he's like 5.7 pre-diabetic, nothing terrible. But I'm like, but I can't get him off of it no matter what kind of supplements. And I think he's not really taking them. And he goes, no, you have to change that. He goes, he's probably eating something. I'm like, he doesn't claim to be eating it. But then when he got the test back, he's like, well, I eat hun buns. I'm like, oh my God, nothing good ever happened after a hun bun, man. I was like, oh yeah, those are out, man. I was like, that's what's screwing up you're aging yourself with a hun bun.
No, I was thinking that probably it's something that he's eating. It's not the supplements necessarily. He's eating a lot of sugar somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't claiming to, but some people can eat a lot of sugar and stay skinny. And so you don't really catch them. And so I'm like, now that you see this, see how important it is to do that, because that's gonna, that's aging you. Sugar ages people. People do not realize that sugar ages you faster. Like, how many teaspoons of sugar or tablespoons are we supposed to eat a day?
How many are we supposed to?
Yes. I look this up all the time and I keep forgetting, and I don't know why I keep forgetting, but there's like there's an amount of sugar we are designed to digest.
Okay, well, I see what you're saying. No, I was going to say, I try to get people to eat very little, if any, because that very little adds up very quickly. But I specifically
tell them how many grams they can eat. So if they're tracking, I'll be like, you can eat this many. Like, I have my MyFitnessPal tracked to 30 grams of sugar. I get alerted if I eat more than 30 grams of free sugar. And I usually almost always stay under that. It's really, but most people, let me think, children should eat 6 sugar cubes. So that's 6 sugar cubes a day. A child should eat 6 sugar cubes a day. 30 grams is 7 sugar cubes a day, but most people eat 17. So when you say low, they'll drop it to 10, and I'm still like, well, you're kind of double what you're supposed. The people don't really track it, so they don't really know. They don't, since they're not throwing piles of sugar, they think it's okay. Huh?
So I'm just looking at the American Heart Association, and this looks really high to me. It's saying, hang on, oops, I have a pop up here.
Mm-hmm.
How much sugar is too much? It's saying that men should consume no more than 9 teaspoons of added sugar per day.
Right.
Women is 6 teaspoons.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, and they're saying 1 12-ounce can of soda is 8 teaspoons.
Right.
So, yeah. No, I was like that. It's a lot.
It is, but that's what we're supposed to do. But most of us do 17.
Yes.
So we're supposed to be under 8, and we really eat 17. So it starts there. And most people, if they actually track their diet for 3 days, they would see that they exceed this 30 grams that I don't exceed. Right. But like I said, I know that I don't over years of tracking my diet, I know what it looks and feels like when I eat more than 30 grams. And so no, but most people don't track it and don't know. But I'm like, okay, if your heart test is red, you're about to start tracking it and figuring it out, because you've got to. Because I started paying attention to this, well, probably when I was really young, when my grandfather was diabetic and used to try to convince me to give him shots. I was like, I'm not going to stick you with a needle. But then I knew when I was a kid, I'm not going to eat a lot of sugar because I don't want to be like grandpa and have to stick myself with the needle every day. Exactly. So at a young age, I sort of knew that sugar was a special occasion thing and not my new everyday friend. So I never really ate a lot of sugar. I probably did exceed the 8 sugar cubes, but not by too much. And then I got older and started tracking and making sure, because even people don't realize potatoes and rice, that's not a sugar cube, but it still is in your 30 grams of sugar. Your protein shake, your salad dressing. Yes. I mean, people don't think about it, but I'm like, track it. You'll figure it out.
It adds up so fast.
It adds up very fast. Mm-hmm. And that's the number one thing. You track your sugar, know how much you eat, know how much you're supposed to eat, stay there. So that's the first thing, sugar. And then which heart healthy diet do you tell people to follow?
Well, I think, and I've talked to you about this before,
right.
I really am a huge fan of the intermittent fasting. And, it's kind of a line between Mediterranean and I guess paleo, keto / if you will, but a healthy keto, not the one where it's just
nope. I don't even mention keto.
Cheese on everything.
I don't, because I know they can't have beef or pork. I mean, I tell them Mediterranean because I know beef and pork are out. If you're red, you have exceeded your limit of beef and pork. So your keto diet is going to be real sad and boring if I do that. So let's go to Mediterranean. So they're automatically high Mediterranean. Unless you're allergic to fish, you're Mediterranean.
To do healthy keto, because people think of keto and they think of high fat and a bunch of butter and meat and so, but there is a healthy keto. There is a healthy version.
Yeah, but most people aren't going to do it. I do not trust anyone to actually do it the way that is going to get them not red. You know what I mean? Okay. If you're red, I need the next time I see you, I need a dramatic improvement, and telling you to do keto is not the way to get that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless they're already on keto and somehow have done well on this test, whatever, you must be doing it right. But if you are anywhere near keto and I do this test, I'm like, now we know that was not heart healthy. It's just not it's not one of my, no. You could do low carb, you could do South Beach, you could do gluten-free, you could do dairy-free, you could do the Okinawa, Japan fish diet, you can do Mediterranean, but then we're done with heart. You can be a vegetarian. All of those are going to, in 3 months, help you change this test. But anything that says keto, I was like, no, I need to get you kind of more vegetarian and fishy.
Yeah, lean and green. Okay. Lean and green is the big key. I think that's what I would say. Real, lean chicken, good heart healthy fish, and then green. Focus on the green. Focus on what you can have versus what you can't have.
Yeah.
And then of course, and of course you say no sugar, and if people want sugar, it makes them want it more. So
no, just 30 grams. 30 grams is doable. You just have to be very your breakfast doesn't have to have sugar, and you have to start calculating how much sugar you're putting on your oatmeal. And then, if you're doing potatoes or rice, you might be doing cauliflower. I mean, you have to it's a process. I just learned which to avoid.
How addicted people are to sugar, and they don't realize it.
And even if they're not addicted, it's just so easy to get your hands on potatoes and rice. It's on everything. They bring you a whole plate of it when you eat out, and then you eat it.
Right.
And French fries, and they just aren't even, if they want quick carbs, what the quick stuff is always carbs, and carbs always have sugar.
Yeah.
And they don't realize, then of course, if you're doing keto, yeah, I've got you off the sugar, but I also 9 times out of 10 have you on a lot of meat, and that is not heart healthy. You can't have beef and pork and think you're going to change red into yellow.
Right.
Can't do it. You can be a vegetarian. You can eat some tofu.
Yeah.
But okay, so how do you get people to eat more fruits and vegetables? Because that's another, because really the biggest thing about a vegetarian diet is not so much that that you're a vegetarian, it's that they're more likely to get to their 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and someone who's doing keto is not. That's another reason I don't recommend keto, because you are not eating you can't be in ketosis if you're eating 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Fruits. Yeah, I
So
the fruit. I always tell people to focus on the vegetables.
Yeah.
That's, the vegetables, because you could eat a huge bowl of salad, or, a whole, like a pound of broccoli, right? And
right.
it's not going to affect you in the same way that the fruit will. And then go over, which fruit are okay to use and to eat in small quantities. Stick to the berries, and really, I think people assume that just because it's fruit, it's healthy.
Right.
And I think a lot of fruit is absolutely, it's got a lot of great nutrients, but there's a lot of sugar. And people who are addicted to sugar, you kind of just have to cut them cold turkey, no sugar, and get their body readjusted to having no sugar, so they're not having those constant cravings and addictions, really, right? So
right.
And then when they do have it on occasion, it's not that big a deal. But I think that's the biggest thing, is to get them off the sugar. And the fruit falls into that category. So,
right.
You try, say 30 grams. It's what I would say more than anything is just cut it out completely. Just none.
Yeah.
And
no, you mean
keep it
fruit?
on.
No.
Yeah.
I definitely let them eat fruit. I mean, I have them track it. If they're staying under their 30 grams of carbs, fine. And usually I tell them, I steer them towards blueberries and raspberries and strawberries, so they can have all the berries. Is usually not going to kill it. I'm like, if they're running around eating 4 bananas a day, all right, we have a problem. Or 4 apples, and I'll just say, you can have 1 orange, 1 apple, and a bunch of berries. I was like, and that's your list of fruit. You might even be able to have a kiwi once in a while, but I was like, but I give them a list of fruits that is actually low glycemic, because I do want them to eat fruit. I personally don't eat, I eat a decent amount of fruit, mostly blueberries. If you see me with fruit, it's usually berries, but I cheat with the Ningxia Red. I'm usually doing a superfruit drink, or if I do any juice, I'll do like 2 ounces of pomegranate juice, because I know how heart healthy it is, or I'm using like green powder. So I actually supplement with a lot of green capsules, green powders, and superfruits, because I want my 7 servings, but I don't want to have to eat a ton of sugar to get my 7 servings. If I can do 5 grams of sugar and that's how my fruit goes, then that's okay. I'll give up 5 to 10 grams of sugar. But most people aren't going to eat, 7 apples a day. But sometimes you have to specify that. Don't become a fruitarian because you're about to eat too much sugar. But I was like, but you can have fruit.
That's the thing I've seen, though. If I could get people to, and that's not forever,
right?
To get away from that sugar addiction, and that's the hardest thing. And if they're still getting that sugar, even a little bit in the fruit, it's kind of continuing that cycle that they tend to be on.
Yeah. So. But I think it might satisfy their craving. They want something sweet. And I'm like, at least you're eating something heart healthy. Don't eat something sweet that's like a candy bar. And I was like, at least, but if you wanted dark chocolate, that's actually heart healthy. If you're going to eat, but I have to tell them, you can have 2 squares. Not like, a bar. No. I was like, you can have this much dark chocolate. You can have a Hershey's Kiss. That's it. Or, but fruit, I would say blueberries. And a lot of people do smoothies. I'm like, okay, blueberries. Oh, I'll put a banana. No, you won't. You'll put a blueberry in it. So, because I like the colors, I like purple, and I like the red and the purples, and so
I love berries.
So I'm generous with berries, even when they're like watching their grams of sugar, because I'm like, they do need to satisfy that craving. If you tell them not to do something, they're really going to want to do it. You have to give them like a square of chocolate and some blueberries, just so they'll be like, all right, I have something. I've done it. It's off my mind, because otherwise they'll just fall apart and not do it.
They'll focus on what they
Yes, they always do that. And so I always tell them, limit. If you track your 30 grams, you'll find out how you can sneak your sugar in with your 30 grams.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel deprived. I mean, like I said, I literally live on that edge of under 30 grams. I can't stand for my MyFitnessPal to turn red because I've gone over. So and actually a lot of people are getting that out of drinking. That it affects how much drinking they can do.
Yes.
I'm like, margaritas are out. You're going to do your whole 30 grams of margarita. You have a Coke. I mean, so sometimes they're doing one thing that's doing the whole shebang. And if you, yeah, sometimes if you take away the one thing they're really like doing that's bad, oh, a donut, nope. Yeah, that you just killed your whole 30 grams. You're starved for the rest of the day. So sometimes if you make them aware of how they're sabotaging themselves, and then you can say, make a habit of eating the blueberries, make a habit of having your square of chocolate, because then you'll have your sugar craving satisfied and you won't go off the deep end with something I really don't want you to do.
Right, right.
So I usually.
Okay, so this is saying a 4-ounce margarita. Okay, that's 4 ounces. I mean, how many margaritas have you seen that are 4 ounces?
No, zero. Nothing that you're gonna buy.
Has 12 grams of sugar.
Right. So when you,
that's just I'm just pulling that up.
No, and usually they give you those big giant fishbowl ones nowadays. Like, do you want the small, which is 8 ounce, or do you want the 16 ounce? And that's like 100 grams of sugar, and you're supposed to have 30. Yeah, that's going to kill you. So wine is heart healthy. It does not have a lot of sugar. It has maybe 2 to 3 grams of sugar in it. I already know that. Vodka, gin, no grams of sugar, but then you put a mixer in it. Well, if you had like 1 ounce of orange juice or whatever, you're still not over your sugar. So you have to really like start researching and calculating and giving yourself a list. Like, I know I can have grapefruit and vodka, orange juice and vodka, light on the grapefruit and orange juice. Beer is high carb, so don't do that. You can have 1 glass of wine. Okay. So I actually give people a list. Here's what you can drink. Here's what you can mix and make it work. Even if you go out and all your friends are having a margarita, maybe you have to have a skinny. Check and see how many grams of carbs is going to be in that. Or just say, bring me tequila and soda and add your own stevia to it. I mean, make it, you got to make it work. If you have to drink something, don't let it be sabotaging you. I'll just do it on the weekends, 1 day a week. I'm like, that will raise your insulin for like 4 days and you are still not doing it. Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. So drinking, I always have to address alcohol. It's like, I'm not ever going to tell people to never drink alcohol again, but women can have 1 serving a day. Men can have 2 servings a day. And here's your list of what's allowed if you want to stay in the heart healthy lane. And here's what's going to sabotage you. So, yeah.
Yeah, alcohol is going to sabotage, especially with weight, I think.
Right. But I think if somebody were drinking 1 glass of wine a day, especially wine, it does not sabotage your weight. It just doesn't. If you're not going over 30 grams of carbs, 1 glass of wine a day. Now, most people are drinking 3 or they're doing a margarita. But if somebody were like, I just like to have a glass of wine before I go to bed or with my dinner when I go out at random, that's usually not putting, I can find other things that are putting weight on them. I can find some gluten. I can find some milk. I can find your rice and your potatoes. I can find so many things in their diet that day that are worse than the 1 glass of red wine.
Yeah.
And I usually I do that all the time. They'll be like, my diet's good. I'm like, let's sit here. Give me what you did yesterday. And we'll put the whole thing in chronometer. And I can see every vitamin they ate, every calorie. Did you eat it? I was like, you ate all these carbs. There was no protein. And then here's your too many grams of sugar. I was like, that's the diet. And then once they have those numbers, they're like, oh, okay. I was like, now we're going to change something.
It's always interesting too when they start writing things down, like what they're actually eating every day.
Yeah, because we had a whole talk about this. We got to point people to our other talk about how you are a writer and I am put it in the computer and make the computer calculate it for you because I like numbers. So I can say 30 grams. That's how I can pick out my 30 grams of carbs in about 5 minutes. Whereas on paper, I don't necessarily see that. I mean, you could, but I'm like, nope, let's go to the computer. It will calculate for us. And here we are with the number that we now have a goal. Yeah.
That is true. You definitely get a better calculation with these apps. I definitely agree with that. It's really making people really accountable when they're writing it down.
I know.
There's so many things they don't want to write down.
I know. With the app, you can like do it in real time. I was like, every time you eat that minute, don't forget, like, oh, you're going to forget the 1 little piece of chocolate and this and that. I was like, when you're doing, and MyFitnessPal lets you take a picture of what you ate and puts it in for you. So I'm like,
Really?
yes, you have to pay the upgraded thing. I haven't done that yet, and I really need to do that because, like I said, I'm that
That's very cool.
I'm that, detailed about diet stuff. But yeah, it's very helpful when I actually will put it in, I'll print it, and I'll start circling like, here's where where you want to look at more protein, less carbs. Here's where all your sugar is. Fix it. Even a really healthy smoothie, I'm like, all right, you did your entire 30 grams of sugar right here in your smoothie. And you might not want to do that.
Those things, I think, people go through, what is it, Smoothie Kings?
Oh, that's never. Oh, that's the worst thing you could. That is worse than alcohol. Like, I never tell people to stop drinking alcohol, but I will take them off Smoothie King in a heartbeat. I'm like, at home, when you can manage what you're doing, like, look at your shake and make sure it's got less than 10 grams of carbs or this many grams of sugar, and then add this many blueberries, 10, and then add some, I literally calculate every single thing. And I'm like, okay, here, now you have used 10 grams of your carbs, because that really, if you're going to only do 30 grams of sugar a day, you can only have 10 grams each meal.
Right.
And that, and that your little Smoothie King shake can eat up most of them. Or you have one glass of soda, you killed the whole thing. One margarita, you killed the whole thing. So you really, like, sugar is a big thing, and you have to get on your little iPhone or whatever kind of smartphone you have, and calculate, find one of those free apps and figure out your macros real quick.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You'll figure it out. The learning curve is different. Like, in a week or two, you're going to figure out where all your weak spots are, and you can fix it pretty quickly, because this test can be run every 90 days. And so you want to be able to, diet is the first thing you got to work on. Now, what supplements do you have? Like, what are your favorite heart healthy supplements?
Well, so obviously omegas. That's all.
I know, that's like my number one. And it's surprising how many people are like, really, fish oil? I'm like, oh my God, why have you not read that yet?
I know, and there's so many benefits to it, not just for the heart.
Oh, everything.
So now here's something. What do you do for people that can't have fish?
Oh, flax oil is probably my next thing I'm going to do, because it's pretty heart healthy also. I'll have them do flax milk. I'll give them a list of like chia seeds, walnuts. There's a lot of things that have omega-3 in them that are not fish. Or there's a lot of supplements that use algae instead of fish. So it depends on how bad their fish allergy is.
Yes. So that's something that I've run into a couple of times, and getting them to get the cholesterol down, not eating fish, getting enough protein. It's like, what do they have? Chicken?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
So yeah.
Yeah, I like fish,
so
but and a lot of times I'll even just put omega in their diet. I'm like, okay, if you're eating oatmeal for breakfast, stick some walnuts in it. There, you just got omega-3, or add flax seeds to it. Or if you're eating yogurt for a snack at some point, add walnuts or flax seeds to it, and put, so there's just a lot of different, goji berries. Goji berries have omega-3 in them. It's a fruit with omega-3. Yes. So I'll be like, put goji, if you make overnight oats, add goji berries to that.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'll just give them a list of things they should go buy that have a lot of omega-3 in it. And I'll say, if you can't have fish oil, here's your flax milk, your hemp seeds, and add it to all your salads and foods, and you'll actually get a decent amount, probably more than people eating fish oil who like to forget it. I don't take fish oil every day. I mean, I do, but I also know how to make it's fat soluble, so your body will store it. So I know if I didn't have my 2 yesterday, I can eat 4 today and make up for the 2 I didn't have yesterday.
Right.
But I also have I used to check my omega level all the time, and just, if I eat my omega level, 8 is like the goal. And I would get to like 6.8 just eating, and I would get to 7.8 if I was supplementing. So I really needed to take more than 2, but I still got pretty close to 8.
So, okay, what else?
My next favorite is CoQ10.
Yes.
Oh my God, number 2.
Huge. Especially people that are on statins already.
Oh yeah.
That's so important. CoQ10.
But most of our patients are not on statins. They specifically come to us to not be on a statin.
Yes, that is definitely true. true as well.
But you have them on Red G
Already
Strice.
done it,
Is like
so-
Red G Strice your big thing? Like, if do you have all of your patients on Red G Strice if they're not on? I mean, I have people who come to me from other doctors on a statin, but they are not coming to me to get
Yeah.
the statin. So,
Right.
I usually suggest Red G Strice. Bergamo has some kind of statin-like activity. So there's a few supplements that are going to give you a statin effect without being a statin, but everyone's on CoQ10, whether they're on a statin or not.
Yeah, good point. Especially those people that are on statins. So,
Yes.
Cokie, and I prefer ubiquinol.
Ubiquinol.
It seems like some of the studies I've read, it's just a better form.
That is true. I've read that. However, I draw a lot of CoQ10 levels on people.
Okay.
And I mean, it could be that if they're on ubiquinol, they can just take 100 and maybe they'll get good levels. But I usually have people on 200, 300s. I'm pretty generous with it, and they're going to get to the levels I want no matter which form they take. So I just tell them, go find some, eat it. We'll draw your levels and then we'll go from there. It's like, I'm going to get you to the number I want you at no matter which you buy. And all of them I've seen will elevate their levels to at least normal, maybe not optimal where I want it, but at least, they'll be working with something. Because if they're on nothing and I draw their blood, I'm like, oh no, this is not good. And CoQ10 comes out of meat, mostly like beef and liver, which I'm not going to encourage them to eat beef, and nobody really eats liver. So CoQ10 is not something that is easily acquired from the diet. There's not a lot of foods I can tell you to eat that have CoQ10. So people have to take it because it's very heart friendly. It's like congestive heart failure. It's good for helping the heart muscle. So yeah, you need CoQ10 and a lot of it.
Right. And if people are on statins, it depletes them.
Oh, big time.
More of CoQ10.
Oh,
so
for
that's
sure.
Even more reason to take it if they're already on something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? Oh, so nicotinic acid, niacin.
Yes. So true Niacin is the form that I think Dr. Harrington likes. People flush with niacin.
Well, so now some of the research, and I haven't done anything real recently, it seems that the flushing niacin, nicotinic acid, is what is shown to be that actually helps with lipid levels.
Yeah, that's the one that works that helps you lower your triglycerides. It's specifically studied for triglycerides, for people with very high triglycerides. Like, we used to prescribe it if your triglycerides were over 500. But True Niacin, somehow, when he's looking at the heart attack risk, that somehow that particular form, I guess, absorbs better, and he liked that. But it's very expensive. So if somebody said, hey, can I just go to the store and buy regular niacin? A lot of people can convert that to probably something that's usable, and that's fine if they don't flush or, are comfortable with whatever the flushing is, and it's more affordable and they want to do that. I don't oppose people doing that. But if I have somebody who can afford to do the True Niacin, that's like one capsule, you're not going to flush, compliance is better. And somehow when they're looking at these tests again, they're having good results. Right. And I really have to pin him down on the difference, like what he thinks, like why he prefers that. I mean, he said that I've heard him say publicly that he prefers it, but I haven't really drilled down why he likes it better than regular niacin at this point. Probably because compliance. I'm guessing that the reason they're seeing better numbers, sometimes you see better numbers, not because the drug is better, but because the patients actually take it, and then you see a better number because they eat it. Whereas if I say, oh, take this niacin, and then you're flushing and they don't take it, and then you documented that they're on niacin, but they decrease their dose. There's always something weird when you give somebody something is going to have a side effect.
Well, and I know with that, what we typically do is we have to work up to it. So start with a lower dose and then work up to it over time.
Yeah. No, but there's like a 50% flush rate on that. So it's not something, I would say that the majority of my patients are not on that. I have them on the True Niacin or some equivalent form of that type of supplement, just because they're more likely to come back taking it if they can afford. Like I said, it's very expensive. So if I have somebody who can actually swing that, then they're going to be still taking it. But the niacin people are notorious for coming back and telling me that they're not taking it. It just is what it is. I mean, I was doing niacin for a decade. I've been, recommending it for a decade, but not even 10% of the people come back still on it. Whereas the True Niacin, I'll have a little better continuation rate, because it's not obnoxious. You only have to take one pill, and then, it's not very obnoxious. It's not mean to you. It's like, even like fish oil, like there's particular brands that I recommend because people don't come back saying they burp. If I just tell people, hey, go to the store, pick one up, chances are they're going to fishy burp, and they're not going to get up to 4 pills a day or 2 pills or any, because they don't like the burping. Then they'll go to krill oil, which you have to take like 8 of them to equal 1 regular capsule. So I'm like, they're like, I read krill oil was good. I'm like, but when I draw your blood, we're not going to see what I want to see. Now, what do you think? Like, what do you think krill oil, like, what is your experience with krill oil success versus regular fish oils?
Well, I haven't really used krill oil. I've had a couple of patients that wanted to take it because of things that they've read. But I just recommend, and plus it's more expensive.
Yeah.
So people tend to be okay with the fish oil as long as they can eat fish, right?
Right.
I haven't really pushed the krill oil as much.
Yeah, I never push it. I just always have people self-referring for it. They'll come in like, I found this at the store. Is this just as good? It's like fish oil, and it's smaller, and it doesn't burp. And I'm like, did you take 8 of them? And they're like, no, I took 1. I'm like, you can't take 1 tiny pill, and it's not going to substitute that other giant pill. It's like 1/3 of that pill. I was like, it is, we are going to draw your blood, and it's just not going to be impressed. Even though it's got benefits that I can't track and I can't see. And yeah, people are compliant with it, and if they want to take that in addition to their fish oil, then fine. Or if they were really good at their diet, like if they ate tuna every day and then wanted to take krill oil, that would be fine. But if they don't have a lot of omega in their diet and they just think that 1 krill is going to make up for the whole I don't eat salmon thing, I'm like, yeah, it won't do that. I have not seen it do that.
For the heart health, right?
Correct. Well, because I mean, most of the time I'm really tracking, did your cholesterol get better? When people come to me and I put them on any sort of a program, I want their cholesterol to trend to normal, and their CRP and their hemoglobin A1C. Like those 3 things are like your little heart trifecta. And like I said, I'm also checking omega-3 levels and CoQ10 levels. I'm checking a lot of stuff, and I can see if you're on enough CoQ10 and if you're on enough omega, because I've got your blood. And then I see how your cholesterol is doing with it. Usually if people will hit the CoQ10 and omega-3 goal, their cholesterol will respond to that. It's very, and if they're on krill oil, that omega-3 level does not budge if they're not taking a lot. Like usually like 4 to 8, not like 1. I'm like, nope, it's nothing. It's drop in the bucket.
And cutting out the sugar. That's going to be
that's big. Too. Well, because that's definitely going to reflect in the hemoglobin A1C.
Well, and I see a lot of people that just want to try to take the pills instead of changing their lifestyle and their habits, their eating habits. So, yes.
It can be done, but it's going to be more expensive because that's a lot more pills. Because I have people who I just know, or even they'll even tell me like, I'm not going to change my diet. And I'm like, do you know how much chromium I'm about to give you to drop your blood sugar? Because I can do it. I can give you some metformin and some chromium and some berberine that now you've just spent $50 a month to do that. I can cheat you out of some sugar spikes now. Don't think I can't. But that's an expensive way to go rather than just making better choices. I'm like, it gets you out of a lot of pills if you can actually alter your diet big time. And I'm the queen of cheating, because you see that I'm variable about my food. So I take a lot of pills. What do you think about olive oil? What do you tell people about olive oil?
I like olive oil. I think in moderation, obviously. I don't like to have it heated up too much because it's not good. It's not a good cooking oil for high temperatures.
Do you ever have people just take like a tablespoon or 2 or 3 daily, just eat olive oil? Do you ever have them do that?
I don't. I'd recommend using that like a salad dressing.
Right. I tell them to do that. Now, do you have them take a supplement? Young Living has Olive Essentials, which 1 capsule is like a liter of olive oil.
Oh, is it now? I was thinking it was olive leaf extract.
Well, no, it says it's hydroxy. Even in there, they actually put that online. You know how they like to write stuff that's not clinically meaningful, but they actually do say that the hydroxy, we have the amount of hydroxytyrosol we have in this supplement is equivalent to what you would find in a liter of olive oil. And hydroxytyrosol is what they do a lot of studies on when it comes to olive oil and heart health, which is why the Mediterranean diet is like so hot, because there's olives and olive oil and everything, and eating the amount that they eat is meaningful. If somebody's like, oh yeah, I cook with it and heat it, I'm like, well, that's not going to get you out of the red zone. But if you were taking like a capsule that specifically says we have a liter in this one capsule, then you might be onto something.
Now that might be something I'll start. I didn't pay it to, I've never.
Olive essentials. Yeah. No, I have some. I have a bottle sitting right next to me.
It was an olive leaf extract.
It might be, but they still guarantee, and they're putting parsley. Parsley is very heart healthy. If you ever look up parsley and heart, it's in all, and rosemary, they're both in olive essentials. And it's got olive fruit extract, olive leaf extract, parsley, and rosemary. But on the front, it'll say supports total body wellness with hydroxytyrosol from Spanish olives. So they specifically know that they have a liter's worth of hydroxytyrosol. And a lot of things that are olive leaf extract do not claim that or say that. And you definitely want that, you want to have that benchmark. You want to have that measure there if you're going to try to get someone out of the red zone. So yeah, and then that Young Living has turmeric now.
No, I didn't know that.
They just launched it last month, and it has boswellia. So Dr. Harrington really likes for people to take boswellia capsules, not frankincense. Well, frankincense is boswellia, but not the liquid frankincense. He likes boswellic powder. Okay. Like, boswellia for pain. People take a lot of boswellia capsules for whatever. Okay. So they mix their turmeric, which is supposed to be like 1 spoonful of their turmeric is supposed to be like taking 6 capsules. Plus they add the boswellic resin in it. Then it's got some essential oils, you know how they are. And ginger, it's got ginger. So ginger, turmeric, boswellia.
Which product are you talking about?
It's called golden turmeric. They also have a spiced turmeric tea. Oh. But look at the golden turmeric. But yeah, one of theirs is supposed to absorb. It's new. It's new.
How was it?
It was good. A lot of people like it, especially if you add milk and make a whole golden milk thing out of it. Everybody enjoyed it. It's not bad. And it's got mango and rose, so it's actually a good flavor. It's like mango, rose, and all those other things. So I think that's going to be really good for inflammation. I think that's going to be another one between the olive essentials and the golden turmeric. I think that's going to do like a lot for people.
That is very good.
And,
yeah, I didn't pay attention to that.
And then you've got the Ningxia Red and the multigreen. So you've got your fruits and vegetables. Then you've got the olive essentials. Then you've got the turmeric. That would actually really do some stuff. Oh, have you ever used the Cardiogize from Young Living? Cardiogize. Where's my Cardiogize?
Yes, I have. It smells really good too.
And it's got, the Cardiogize has garlic. So garlic is another thing that Dr. Harrington really likes. It's got garlic and CoQ10 are the first 2 ingredients in the Cardiogize. But the Cardiogize, it doesn't list exactly how much though. It's a proprietary blend. So I don't know how much garlic and I don't know how much CoQ10, but I know they're both in Cardiogize.
Now I take quite a bit of
garlic
on its own self. Mm-hmm.
Which brand do you take?
I've been using, I go between Anabolic Labs has got one that I was using, and then Metagenics has one that I've used.
Yeah.
There's a couple. As long as I'm not.
Dr. Harrington likes the one, like the Kyolic aged garlic extract by Wakunga. What is their name? Wakunga? There's some company.
Yeah, and that's one you can just get at
the store. Right? Yeah. But somehow that's the one he's recommending. But I happen to have both of those. I have one that's got, one of their products has CoQ10 and one of them has ACE and selenium and milk thistle and green tea. It's got a lot of stuff. It's got everything.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be on sale one day, so I bought it. But so, and then I've got the Cardiogize, which has garlic. But yeah, garlic is another. And I tell people that for blood thinning, as we get older, our blood gets more viscous, and so I like garlic for blood thinning. I like vitamin E for blood thinning. I like ginkgo biloba, all of which are heart healthy. So if somebody,
I don't use a lot of ginkgo. I used to use a ginkgo tea a lot, but.
Or it's good for memory. I use it a lot for memory. It's also good for hot flashes. Whenever you have something that vasodilates or helps you with your blood vessels, your hot flash, you don't get so spasmy and flashy.
Yeah.
So how do you boost people's estrogen? Do you ever have specific things that you use for estrogen? That kind of stuff?
I have with some patients. I don't really do as much with the hormones as you do. So that's probably more your place. But I know there's a couple of products with people that have been low in progesterone that I've used that are more natural.
Right.
But I haven't really done a lot with increasing estrogen. I feel like more people tend to be estrogen toxic than they are not.
If you have the right form of estrogen in your body, then estrogen toxic is like we're plastics and xenoestrogens and we're eating crap. So a lot of them are hitting your receptor. You have to have an equal amount of good estrogen to even compete with them. You don't want nothing but bad estrogen all over your receptors. You have to have good estrogen. Even if you're estrogen dominant, you want to make sure the good estrogen is on your receptors, or the bad estrogen is going to go attach and do mysterious things that I do not know about. I know what estradiol will do to you. I do not know what the cow hormone that attaches to the same receptor is going to do.
Right.
So I like to be in control of what estrogen is in your body and make sure you.
So what do you typically recommend for natural?
So natural geranium, they actually did a study where they gave people, I think, 10 different essential oils to see which ones would provoke salivary estradiol levels. So they actually measured their estrogen. Okay. Now, salivary estradiol is a very small amount. It's not like it's like, oh, look, I'm 20. No, but at least it will change the levels. And geranium and rose were the two essential oils that would generate levels. Like it provoked salivary estrogen levels. It made them go. Geranium and rose.
Do you have them take these internally, or do you have them take these? I mean, it's just.
I think in that study they were diffusing it. In the study they diffused it.
Really?
Yes, but Young Living, I think some of their supplements have geranium in it already, and some of their blends like Endogize and Juvaflex. Like in my book, I have a whole list of things that have geranium in them that are blended that you can eat. Like, and then you could actually put them in a capsule if you wanted to. So you can get geranium orally, but you don't have to. I mean, you could take Juvaflex and put it in your tea, which I do, and then you're eating geranium. Or you can diffuse it, which it smells like rose. It's flowery. I like it. So, or you can put it on your skin. Geranium is very good for your skin. So you can take a few drops and rub it on your stomach, shoulders, wherever you want every day. So it doesn't matter how you get it, because when the molecules are so small, they're going to roam around and look for estrogen receptors or whatever receptors they like to look for. So yeah, I like geranium. It's my favorite. And I tell every single person to get a bottle and have fun. Or something, a blend with it. Geranium. Lady Sclerol has geranium. Trauma Life has geranium. There's they have like at least 30 blends that contain geranium. At least 5 of which are edible. So yeah, I have them do geranium. What other herbs will do it? Most people don't eat soy, but soy would, soy is variable. Sometimes I see it provoke estrogen, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, there are several things that can boost even DHEA can boost your estrogen level if you take enough, if you have leftovers. So I really optimize the other hormones. See, DHEA and pregnenolone are very easy to get over the counter. So that's like a very easy way for people to give their body access to at least a little estrogen by taking the precursors. I do that. So between that and geranium, a person can actually put themselves in a different situation than if they just had nothing.
Nothing, right.
Right. So yeah.
That's interesting. So I didn't realize, I know diffusing, it definitely can have an effect, but that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
The study with that.
In the study. In almost every study with this, I mean, unless they're doing it in rats and injecting them or something, if they're doing essential oil studies in humans, they are typically either massaging a few drops or inhaling it. And they're not, I know a lot of people say, oh, put it on your VitaFlex points, which is fine, or put it here or there. But in most of the studies that I referred to in my book, they were either just massaging it topically or diffusing it, or just sniffing it out of the bottle. I mean, they weren't doing anything terribly fancy. They weren't eating it. I mean, I will have some people eat certain edible forms if they want to. Or like I said, if they're drinking tea every day, I'll say, add this oil or add that oil if I know that it's going to have some sort of benefit. And there are a lot of heart healthy essential oils. Cinnamon will lower your, I like cinnamon and ocotea for the blood sugar effects. And a lot of times, like I said, if somebody is consistently going over 30 grams, even if they're not, I might still want them to have cinnamon and ocotea because that'll buy them a few extra, it'll kind of blunt that effect if they're not going too far over. So I just give them a list of if I have people who are already using oils, I'll tell them these are the oils you want to include because it will get you out of a few pills.
Yeah, I think that sometimes people get a little overwhelmed with the sheer number of potential supplements that they could be taking.
Right. Yeah. So. And I take, like, how many pills do you take a day? Because I take easily 20, but I didn't start taking 20 pills yesterday. I started 15 years ago taking, I need to take enzymes. Wait, I need to take probiotics, or I need to put that in my diet if I'm not going to eat it. Then I need to do this, and then I need to do that. So over the past 15 years, if you add on one pill a year, yeah, I can get up to 15, 20 pills a day. But someone who's on one pill, it's hard to get them on 20. So I have to change their diet. That's easier. Well, not really. I was like, oils get them out of a lot of pills.
Yeah. And I tend to, kind of pick and, I don't take the exact same thing every single day either.
Me neither.
There's some things I do, but, there's some days I might change something or add something, or it's like, what, just like you said, I didn't eat enough of, a certain nutrient, or feeling a little bit run down, or, whatever it might look like, eat a few too many carbs, add extra B's, it's funny how I change things up almost every day.
Yeah.
So, magnesium's my constant.
Yes.
Oil, of course, I like to take it with food.
So what do you think about magnesium and heart health? Do you ever, as a part of a heart healthy diet, have people take magnesium?
Well, I think magnesium is probably one of the number one things that across the board, not just for heart health.
Right.
It's so important to so many reactions, and so many people are depleted of magnesium. The challenge is, again, with magnesium, it's such a large mineral. You have to take 2 or 3 capsules to get what you need every day. So,
yeah,
kind of running into that is that whole idea of people don't want to take a lot of pills a lot of times.
Right.
But no, magnesium's hugely important.
Oh yeah, because your heart is a muscle and it has an electrical charge, and magnesium's a mineral that helps it with that, and it helps with blood pressure, and it helps with blood sugar, and it helps with adrenal support. So and especially if somebody tells me they're constipated or have a headache, I'm like, oh, you're about to take a lot of magnesium. And if they don't want to take pills, I'm like, do you bathe every day? Can you put Epsom salts? Can you soak your feet in Epsom salts for 20 minutes? Can you get a topical magnesium spray and use that every day? People don't realize that magnesium can be transdermal. And so if you don't want to take a pill every day, you have to be good at something else.
You can. Mm-hmm. True.
Right. Whereas I'm decent at the pill. It helps you sleep. So if somebody can't sleep, we'll take a boatload of magnesium at night. You'll sleep.
Yep.
Can you overdose? Yes, you can overdose. You'll poop, but that's okay. Just poop, do less the next day and you'll stop. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
The overdose is poop. It needed to come out anyway. So I'm gonna say, I'm not sad.
It's controllable.
Yeah. If you keep pooping, that means it was there. It needed to come out. So we're good. It's good for your bones. I have people on it just for bone health. Fiber is big, which is why I'm big on oatmeal. Do you have people take oatmeal or some sort of grainy breakfast? Like, I don't know, what kind of thing would I have them eat for breakfast? Oats is like the easiest thing. Overnight oats. There's some, like I said, there's some chia seeds and some goji berries and some oatmeal, and leave it overnight and eat it in the morning. Oh, you are so heart healthy. You've just done everything.
So so that's another biggie. If they're not eating fiber, it's like, how do we get it into their diet? So there's supplements for that as well.
Right. Now, what's your favorite fiber? My favorite kind of is Benefiber, just because it's clear and people will do it without really tripping about it. You know, like if I tell them to take,
Yeah.
I like Metamucil, but you know, it's a lot of, you got to take a few pills in order, and that's, I've taken up their pill space, and I'm not going to get them to take other pills. Whereas Benefiber is clear, you can mix it and stuff, and there you are.
Right. Well, Standard Process has a fiber that I tend to use.
Is it green? Is it tasteless?
No. So they've got one that you mix. So they've also got capsules as well. So it just depends on the person. Because a lot of times I'll have them add the whole food fiber, which is, it's all whole food based, which is what I like about their products.
Right.
And I will have them add that to their shake. But they also have a gastro fiber, which is the capsules, which they can take as well. So just depends. You know, some people would rather take the capsules than have to try to eat.
Yeah. I mean, some people want the capsules, but we've already mentioned the fish oil's got to come in capsules, and the garlic is usually going to be a capsule. Then if I have you do some extra greens in a capsule. And so sometimes the fiber is the one thing I'm like, you can put that in your smoothie. You can put that in water, and it's clear. And you can, I was like, I usually try to, like, anything that doesn't have to be in a capsule, even the magnesium. If they're constipated, I want them to take it orally, because then they'll go. And if they're not, you know, but otherwise I'm like, maybe that'll be the gel, and you'll do that topically, because anytime I can take a capsule away from you, that means I can do something else. Because I don't realistically expect people to take, I can take 20 a day, but I don't expect most people to take more than 10 things a day. So sometimes we got to pick and choose which 10 capsules a day we're going to do.
That's a good point.
So that's why I'm like, fiber is the last thing I'm going to do in capsules. I'm going to make them eat some beans. I'm going to have them eat some oatmeal. And then here's your Benefiber in your water. And now you're there, rather than 7 capsules.
Right.
Even though it's an option. Like I said, I might have somebody who can do 30 pills a day, and they'll do some fiber pills. But in general, I'm like, I'll give them a list. Like even CoQ10 can come in liquid. And I might say, yeah, we're going to have to start putting that in something else. Fish oil can come in a liquid, doesn't have to be a capsule. So I have those people who don't want to take any capsules.
They've got some really tasty fish oils liquids now. There's one I tried, I was trying to remember, it was almost like an orange cream taste. It was really good. I was pretty impressed with it. So yeah, no, that's a really good point. A couple of people, they can't swallow pills at all, which is, you know, tends to be challenging for them too, to get all the nutrients that they need. So
right. Or they can take tiny pills. Yeah.
Like take what? I'm sorry?
I said some people can take small pills, which is why they're on the Krill, but not big pills. And so we all have our.
Yep. So I know in some of these, like these multivitamins in liquid form, they taste horrible.
Yes.
So that's another interesting challenge that
I found a couple, like Now Foods has their liquid multivitamin does not taste bad, and I can get most people to eat that one.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's like 1 or 2 that I've had people do, and that I've done myself, that are like, that they actually like. But really, most of them, yes, I would say 99% of them are disgusting. Or even Barlean's has that liquid fish oil that's yummy. I'll sit there and eat packets of that.
Oh, really? I haven't tried that one.
No, because they sell them at, like, I've seen them at H-E-B and Whole Foods. It's Barlean's, and they have like pina colada flavored flax fish swirl, and and you know, berry flavored this, and yeah, they cater to kids a lot. So I mean, like that particular brand, their stuff is like yummy. Like you'll eat it just to be eating it.
That's funny though, you know, to say it tastes like a pina colada.
It does. I mean, it has that pineapple coconut flavor. It is very yummy. There's stuff like when I go to those places where there's a lot of samples, like certain companies, I'll take one, you know, their sample. I'll be like, that was tolerable, but then I'll keep going over to Barlean's and taking their little packets. And by the end of the day, I've had like 10 packages.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
I know it's hilarious, but their fish oil is that good where you'll keep walking over there and eating it, and it doesn't ever, you know, fishy burp. It doesn't, you know, repeat on you like some other things can.
And I think that's the biggest complaint I get from the fish oils is the fishy burp.
It'll burp back. Especially older people who already have like some belching, heartburn problems, like every little thing repeats, and you have to be very careful about what you give them.
Mm-hmm.
Like even garlic can repeat. Like the one I'm taking, probably the brand you're taking does not repeat on you. The Cardiogize from Young Living did not repeat on me. This Kyolic brand stuff does not repeat on me. And like my grandmother used to always buy garlic, and she'd say, "Oh, it gives me heartburn. I can't stand it." And she'd come to my house and eat my garlic, and then she'd be fine. So then she'd steal my garlic, and then I would go like months without taking garlic. Because I'm like, Grandma took my garlic, but I'd let her because I'd always find the kinds that did not make her sad.
You know, my grandfather he would just have whole garlic and swallow whole cloves. That's how he took garlic.
I will do that. If you pickle it, if you get like, I didn't start doing this till I went to Russia, and they somehow pickle garlic really well. You cannot taste the garlic anymore. It just tastes like a little pickle. And so if I find pickled garlic, I can just eat the whole bottle, just pickled garlic. But otherwise, I will not eat a garlic clove unless it's pickled. I guess I could pickle my own. Yeah, I'd rather take a capsule. Plus, I mean, one capsule is probably like taking several cloves. I'm gonna have to look that up. How many capsules equal a clove? Because a lot of people say, I eat so much garlic, and they think they've, eaten enough. And I'm like, let me quantify this.